Am I starting with episode 2 of Kelly Kelly? Yes. Does it matter? Technically not. It provided me with all of the essential information within the first 5 minutes. It was very easy to understand the dynamic of the family and what was going on and to get to grips with who the characters were. So even though I haven't seen the first episode, to my knowledge, the first episode doesn't exist anywhere. It doesn't matter. I was able to pick up from episode 2. That being said, I love Shelley Long more than life. That also means that I'm very biased. That's worth pointing out. So if anybody does know where episode 1 exists, please let me know. I would be very happy to pay to watch it. But for now, I can only talk about episode 2 onwards. It is only a 7-part series. And based on this first episode, I'm really looking forward to what's in store. This was released in 1998. This second episode, I nearly said first episode. The second episode is directed by John Tracy, and obviously this stars Shelley Long as Kelly Novack. And the reason it's called Kelly Kelly is because Kelly dates or falls in love with a character called Doug, played by Robert Hayes. And interestingly, there is actually a brief summary of the first episode online, so I was able to kind of understand how they met and what happened without watching that first episode. But I would still very much like to watch that episode. They're not actually married at this point, so she's technically not called Kelly Kelly yet, but we do have some events in this episode that are leading up to the wedding, and the episode is also about Kelly trying to become part of the Kelly family and getting to know Doug's children. We have Maureen, Sean, Brian, and Casey, who are played by Ashley Johnson, Will, Estes, Bug Hall, and Gemini, Barnett. And I apologise if I've mispronounced any of those names. So there will be spoilers as I discuss what happens in this episode. As I said before, I am definitely biased. Kind of worship the ground Shelley Long walks on, so that's absolutely something to bear in mind. But I still think it was pretty great, and I feel like it was a great introduction for me as well, because we have a strong Scottish theme running through this, and with me being Scottish, absolutely adored that. As I said, everything was established within the first 5 minutes, so I will talk about that now, and there will be spoilers as I go into more detail about the rest of the episode. Within the first 5 minutes, we learn that Kelly is going to become their stepmother, and the kids are trying to catch her in the bedroom with Doug. Very, very fun way to start things off. We also learn that they are getting married and that Kelly's great uncle Billy had called, and she explains that part of her family is Scottish. She does a Scottish accent. Love that. And we also learn, and I quote, "He's the reason I love literature and became an English professor." So we have Kelly's profession established as well. It's so fantastic how I was able to just pick up on all of the key details about the family, the dynamics, their professions within this episode. And I do feel like it could have been the first episode. Then we have the information that there are 2 events clashing. They're going to be having the kilt ceremony, which actually is something I've never heard of. I don't know if it's a thing, but nevertheless, it is a thing for this family. And it also happens to be the baseball opening day, which is a Kelly family tradition. So we have 2 different traditions that might end up clashing. And all of this was established within the first 5 minutes. Very, very impressive. We then spend some time at the baseball game, and Kelly is definitely out of her depth. She's not really into sports, but she is trying. And there were 2 great Shelley Long moments that I loved at this game. The first is when she got hit on the head with peanuts. Brilliant facial expression. And the second is the sound she made when beer was kind of poured down her back. Absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, the kids do start to express that they feel like their father is too busy to enjoy the game with them the way he does every single year, because obviously he's so focused on Kelly. Kelly decides to leave the baseball game because she's not really getting it, and I didn't 100% read this from her actions, but I'd like to also think that she decided to leave the baseball game so that Doug could have quality time with his children. And she goes home and we meet her mother, and her mother is a very cold, icy person, but also I think quite a likeable character. And unfortunately, the TV announces that the game has gone into extra innings, which means that obviously they're going to be spending more time at the baseball game, and that means that the timing could clash, because at the moment it seems like they're going to be back in time for the kilt ceremony, but if it's gone into extra innings, maybe not. Uncle Billy then arrives, and Uncle Billy is played by Alan Young, and I forgot to mention, but Kelly's mother is also played by Constance Towers. And we also get an introduction to a couple of other characters, including one called Wallace, played by Andrew Bilgore. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the character of Wallace. I have absolutely no idea, of course, but based on this episode, I thought he seemed pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward to hopefully finding out more there. So not long after Great Uncle Billy arrives, Doug does come home, to his credit, but the kids are still at the baseball game, and Kelly reveals that she doesn't want to have the kilt ceremony without them. They're going to be part of her family, or maybe she's going to be part of their family, and she feels like they should be there. So the only solution is to take the kilt ceremony to them. And we have this delightful moment where we're at the ball game again, and all we hear are bagpipes. Again, being Scottish, love the sound of bagpipes. And we have the kilt ceremony at the ball game, and we have this great emphasis on the fact that she compromised and brought the kilt ceremony to the stadium. There, of course, Doug trying to teach the children that being in a family is all about compromise. And Kelly decides to have a talk with Maureen, and it seems like it didn't go to plan, because she told Maureen that she was doing things to include the children in things that she liked, and she asked Maureen, "What are you doing to include me?" And Maureen decides to just leave at that point. And it does seem like in that moment she wasn't getting through to her. And then a really beautiful thing happens. She comes back a little while later, Maureen, and she hands Kelly a bag, and she's got her a baseball jersey. And it's such a sweet moment. I rather liked it. And then the baseball gets thrown towards them, and Kelly catches it, and Maureen decides to talk very sweetly to her and ask her for the baseball. And Kelly's response was rather delightful, that yes, Maureen can have it, but she's going to hold on to it until Kelly needs something from Maureen, which I thought was a nice way to end things, giving Kelly a bit of a bargaining chip. But I think we also established a lot. So it's very easy, in my opinion, to begin watching Kelly without having seen the first episode. What's also quite interesting, at least I think so, is that I don't know the title of the first episode. Potentially, IMDb lists it as Pilot, which may well be the first title, but the movie database lists it simply as Episode 1. So I don't know, it seems to be a bit of a mystery. If anybody knows of its existence, please let me know. I will be very happy to pay to stream it or buy it or whatever I need to do, because Shelley Long is very much lifeblood, and I'm really looking forward to watching the rest of this. However, I'm going to take a short break because I also have Good Advice, which is another Shelley Long sitcom. I do have all of the episodes for that, so I will watch the first episode of that next, and then I'm going to put it on hold for 3 weeks while I finish rewatching season 5 of Cheers, and then I'll pick both of these up again. I'll do one episode a week, and that will give me enough Shelley Long to watch one episode per week every week until the end of this year. So that's something very much to look forward to. Can't wait to watch Good Advice. Cannot wait to watch the next episode of Kelly. I really thoroughly enjoyed this.